or no, it was 44 feet. I'm sorry. And, it had a bedroom in it, and then it had it expanded out on the sides and converted into a second bedroom. Hey, it was nice. We were in there till the propane ran out.
Yeah, there's always something. Then you got to get more propane. It's funny. I see one of them going down the highway one time, Gary, and the side started to come open. You know how they extend?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't good.
Well, a deer crashes through an Ohio's couple's house.
Uh-oh.
An Ohio couple was left cleaning up a mess, a huge mess, after a deer dashed through their front door, into the walls, out the window, searching for a way out. And boy,
yeah,
I can tell you how I'm looking at the damage it did. Furniture, the picture window gone, the door where it came through, it just destroyed the door, because most doors are hollow right now. They're not solid wood core doors anymore. They're like real thin, fake wood with foam in the center, and that's not going to stop somebody or a deer from coming through.
Not at all. And people think all deers they're these nice herbivores, but I got to tell you something. And where I live in Ohio, the county here where I live, it's one of the top 3 counties of white-tailed population deer, and they're everywhere. And when those things, I know somebody that hit one, went through the windshield and got inside the car, and it was still alive. And when deer get inside somewhere, they panic. And when a deer panics, they will tear things up to get out of there. Trust me.
Oh, I know. I unfortunately hit a deer one time, and it came through the windshield, but it was deceased.
It was, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and that was back in 1986, and it was with a Corvette. And I tell you what, it destroyed the Corvette, because a Corvette is a fiberglass body, and the impact, I was doing about 55, 60 miles an hour, and I hit the deer, and it came through, but the body actually shattered.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine that. Another animal that people think are so nice and tame is groundhogs. I was working on a golf course, 10 years plus or so, and I was out there on the cart, and this big old mean groundhog popped up, and I accidentally hit him, and I stopped to see if he was okay, and he stood up. He got them big choppers. He's going, man, he was mad. Oh, he come at me. I got back in the cart and took off, but he was not happy.
Did you scream?
I screamed like a little girl and got out of there.
I figured that much. Can you believe an 84-year-old woman was at a basketball game, and during the break, she, got the golf club out. She sunk a 94-foot putt. And got it right in.
That is amazing. That is amazing. I gotta say something for my mom. She's got 3 holes in one, and she's pushing. I'm not dumb. I wouldn't dare say how old she is, but she does got 3 holes in one on her belt, and they weren't that long ago either.
Interesting. Well, you know what's washing up on the shores on the East Coast around Florida? It's a thing. It looks kind of like a crab, but it has no legs, and it's alien looking, and they're telling people, keep your dogs away from it, or don't touch it up, or even touch it, or pick it up, or anything, because it secretes a blue liquid. Now that liquid will almost, like a dog, it can kill the dog. If you touch it, it can make you really sick, and it's one of its protective devices.
Wow. That's another thing I've been seeing a lot of lately is these creatures washing up from the deeps, stuff that we've never seen before, very exotic-looking stuff. Have you noticed that lately? And some of that stuff, like you just said, it's got some very unique poison or whatever it is.
Well, a lot of things are coming out from the deep. Now, isn't it kind of strange? That is now happening more than what we normally are used to seeing. Exactly. I think what's happening again, because the magnetic change of the earth is going on, and we have also the sea is changing in temperature a little bit. So we got all this going, and who knows what might surface.
You're so right. With all the seismic activity, tsunamis, the currents being slowed or altered, the change of the temperatures, the magnetic field, all this, you add all that up and stir it up, and that's a perfect storm of some stuff that's going to come up to the surface that we may have never seen before.
Well, remember back when you were at school, and remember movies made years ago, like a giant squid would grab a ship, like one of the old sailing ships and pull it down? Well, now scientists are saying that's not so far-fetched.
No, that's right. I've looked at some of the old, from the 16th, 17th, 18th century, the old sailors, they'd have maps, and different oceans they were in, they'd have draw these sea creatures. Well, some of them, if you look at them, they kind of match up with giant eels or the giant squid now, and there's some other ones there, like a big shark. But back then that was the big thing: beware of the Kraken and pull these ships down. But people thought that was a joke, but there actually is a big squid out there.
Yeah, well, they're saying there might even be ones big enough where they could have actually pulled down those old ships back at that time frame, because those ships were maybe 40 to 60 feet. They weren't huge ships. So you could imagine something, coming out from the deep, and this, hey, maybe those fairy tales weren't fairy tales. Could you imagine a woman's husband forgot to get the breadsticks? So she sends them back to the convenience store to go get breadsticks. Well, he decides he's going to spend $1 and wins $50,000.
Oh boy, this guy must have been from the Carolinas. My advice to him: go back and buy another ticket. I'll tell you what, Gary, I don't know where you find these winners of these luckiest people in the world every week. I'm amazed at their luck, at how they can win these things.
Well, this case, it wasn't in the Carolinas; it was Maryland.
Oh. Well, I'm glad he won. Still, my advice to him is go back and buy another ticket. And, your wife won't be mad at you for a minute for, not getting the breadsticks. You might come home with $50,000 instead.
Yeah. Well, a website offers, ready for this, $636 to watch all of the James Bond movies in 24 days. Now, I got to warn you, there's 24 movies made. James Bond movies, that is. And so if you go to this website, and if you watch one a day for 24 days, you can get $636. And you can find that in the odd news.
Wow, I'm going to have to sign me up for that one. I watch them for free. I might as well get paid, right?
Oh, I don't know. Speaking about snakes.
Oh, no.
A woman decides she's going to vacuum her front room. So she gets out her Kirby vacuum cleaner, and she notices the bag was full. So she unzips the bag, and out comes a 2.5-foot snake.
Oh, my goodness. Gary, I'll tell you what, I'm going to have to I've lost count of all the places that we have stories where snakes are coming from. The pillowcases, your stove on the pizza, restrooms and restaurants. Now they're coming from your sweeper. They're coming from your ceiling. They're coming from under your bed. Gary, they're everywhere. I think the snakes are rising up against mankind.
Well, I know. They're out to get us.
I'm telling you.
Well, then I won't tell you about another snake. A guy goes into, and this is in Sydney, Australia. He goes into a gift store that sells, glass figurines and objects and stuff like that. Well, he sees this yellow, he thought, glass snake. He picks it up. Well, it's not glass, and it is a snake, and it's one of the more venomous snakes in Australia.
As soon as you said Australia, because some of the most poisonous snakes, spiders, or anything lives in Australia. Wow, yeah, you picked that up. Wow, I wouldn't even think. I wonder if the guy fainted. Think about the store owner. If you got one snake, they always say there's probably another one floating around.
Yeah, but a yellow snake, I guess, hey, looking at, these glass figurines and stuff like that, because they come in bright colors, and you see a nice little, snake. Looks like it's glass, kind of glossy and yellow. You wouldn't think it's a real snake. Oh boy!
No,
he sure got a surprise. If anybody would be screaming, it would have been me. I tell you that.
Just pick it up. Hey, how much is this? And then the guy says, "Well, that's not mine. Where'd that come from?" As it's biting you, filling you up with venom, and you're shaking, going into two seizures. I mean, geez.
Yeah, that's scary. Well, a bear was relocated after wandering into a suburb. For 2 days, it was wandering around in the suburb out of L.A. They had to tranquilize it. It was caught outside of elementary school, and it was a good-sized bear.
Wow, near a school, too. That's you know what? That is another animal that has really made a lot of news appearances, bears. They're either stealing beer or breaking in cars, getting food, or breaking in people's houses, getting in refrigerators. And now they're out at the schools lurking around. I don't know what's going to do with these bears, but L.A. of all places, I didn't even think they had bears even close around there.
Well, don't forget, we're not talking about the city of L.A. We're talking about the county of L.A., which is huge. And yes, they got suburbs out there, and they got all that stuff because it goes out to the countryside. It's one of the biggest counties in the country. But you know what? A 70-some pound beaver was found under a house in California.
Wow, that is a huge beaver. I'll tell you what, I think beavers are cousins to them groundhogs, and they can be vicious. They get them big teeth. Well, put it like this, beavers cut down trees with teeth. So you imagine what they could do to you if they got a hold of you? No, thank you.
Well, why would a beaver be under somebody's house? That's rather interesting, isn't it?
That is interesting. That's weird. It's not just one animal. I see these patterns here. It's all kind of assortment of animals are encroaching on our suburbs and our housing. And I don't know if it's because they're running out of space or if it's just like we've been talking about the magnetic field and the weather changes, but something's going on here.
Oh, something is definitely going on. Let's face it, bees are getting lost. They thought, and the kill-off with bees is really high, where it's really got people concerned. But think about this. The reason why they're dying is because they go out of their, hive to do their thing, and they're lost. They can't find their way back. The same way birds, migrate and stuff. All this is being affected by the magnetic field shifting. And they're now figuring that's what's killing off the bees because they don't know where to go. So they fly till they die. It's not just that. A beaver, why would a beaver be under somebody's house and not near a pond or a river? That's kind of strange. A lot of creatures, bear, mountain lion, all this stuff is surfacing in residential areas, which they haven't done it for a long time. They're confused. They're lost. They don't know how to get back.
Absolutely. And the thing is about that magnetic field, it used to move every year a few feet or maybe
it was a couple inches. Now, then it went up to a foot. Now it's like 39 feet per year and going faster.
Well, I just did the report. It was up to 34. I think it was 34 miles.
You're right. 39 miles, actually. I just read that today.
Yeah.
Anyway, we need to take a break. We'll be back in 2 minutes. You're listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio. I updated the website. Check it out. www.nightdreamstalkradio.com.
You thirst for some significance of the both dimensional kind. You enter a realm of spirit, of sight and sound and mind. Your radio is a cosmic doorway, and sun.